gap between the top two and everyone else might just be closing.
And as we jump into the plane on Miramar here, I'm interested to see now if Lazarus can continue to pick up points on this map. It's been absolutely pivotal for them to get as many kills, not only in rotation, but crashing teams. And we've actually got the coach, Gunnar, standing by with us to kind of walk us through the beginning. Thank you, Gunnar, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we stole your away to kind of, I don't know, help us walk us through the early game of Miramar is for you guys specifically, but also just the game as a whole. Obviously, this plane that we've been seeing is pretty straightforward. I can't imagine that you're going to have an off call off of this one.
Yeah, this is a good plane for us. We definitely like these. I mean, we have a good idea where everyone else lands, so it's mainly just looting up as fast as we can here and then waiting for a zone to pop. And then instantly what we'll do is we will just recognize the teams around us, what they like to take for priority, and then, rotate accordingly. Basically, Ghost, Low-Key, Zenith, Wildcard, Sonics, Genesis, we all have a good idea of when they leave, how fast they leave, and in every zone, like what they like to take. So we definitely have a good idea of where we like to go based off of that.
Are you ever worried about dropping so far spread out as you can see that you are now? Are you ever worried that you're going to get approached by the Low-Key or Wildcard specifically because, as you can see, they're right there on your position, or does it not really bother you at all?
No, I mean, obviously, like, we like to have as much control as we can, like in North zones, like Purdy could scout in, see what Wildcard and Zenith are doing, and then on East zone, Civ could kind of flex and rotate a little faster than everyone else, get up on the hill above me and us, and scout in. So basically, we're not worried, but we like to definitely keep as much control as we can. On every map, you'll see us spread out on the first circle as much as we can.
Looking at this first circle, Gunnar, with Space Station Gaming obviously playing in Pozo, Sonic's right below that, or right to their right. Is there a kind of an idea, a game plan in place for this first rotation?
Yeah, there is. Like this, I mean, I could say that I hate this zone the most out of any Miramar zones for us. It really, what we like to take into account is ult drops. Basically, if the plane isn't good, we like to see where teams ult drop because that'll affect like how we rotate into the zone. But on straightforward planes, like even on a zone like this, we have a very good idea of what everyone's going to do, and we typically just like to play these slow, just because we know we're not going to get priority. So we like to have teams in front of us and like no one behind us. So then, as you say, like we have been trying to fight as many teams as we can and pick up points. If we know everyone's in front of us, we could just work off that information that we have and just go from there.
I'm interested to know, how is the team feeling after the games today?
The team's feeling good. I mean, our first Miramar game, like we had a 11 kill, 7th place. We messed up a little bit, and we definitely could have had some more kills. But I mean, we'll take 12-point games all day. This Sandhawk zone was, or the Sandhawk game, the last one was a little interesting because United tried to camp us, and they haven't been doing that recently. But we do prepare for it, and we expect it, and that's kind of why a lot of times we'll send like Civ over a little faster and like swimming. But it didn't work for them, and they executed it very poorly. And,
yeah, it didn't work out. I mean, once they had, once your vehicle was through and into the other side, that was kind of it. You held the compound and essentially forced EU United to give it up, and that eventually caused EU United to go back to hot 10 and totally ruined the game for them, which is kind of one of those happy accidents, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I mean, once we get to that island, like we felt safe. Like it's mainly just getting over. Like we know exactly where the game is going to end, so it's just getting over to that island. Like once we do that, we just work from there. Like we're not scared to fight any team. So if United like wanted to scrap, as long as it's not a camp, like we're comfortable doing that.
Do you guys have any, I know this is kind of a Purdy-Curdy thing where you said we have no rivals. Do you have any rivals in this game right now, do you think, other than Tempo, who's ahead of you?
Envy's playing really good. Like I'm impressed with what they're doing, and like they haven't been really gifted too much, but they're working into zones nicely, and they're winning fights, and they're executing like their fights really good. So I mean, as far as rivals, definitely it's just Tempo Storm, and I think coming into this phase we knew that was going to be our rivals. So we work a lot with like trying to study them and understand like what they do, and they're really our only rival.
So looking back at this game right now, you can see Genesis, they're on their own rotation, get to the center of the circle. But from your experience or perspective working with Lazarus, can you clue us in on where you expect to see like the hot parts of this game may end up being?
I mean, basically just around the Chuma area where you see Rumblers and Genesis going. A lot of games like to end around there. And now there's some mountains over there that the game actually like can't end on. So like the hardships will come off of there, and basically Gen knows what they're doing. Like they know where these games are likely going to go. Obviously it's not 100%, but they have a good idea, just like based off of like we scrim so much and we see so many of these like reoccurring zones that they have a good idea of like what's going to happen here. They are further south than they normally go, but I think they're kind of getting shot off and scared a little bit here. But Rumblers are always in a good spot in this zone, and they like to hold that hill.
Well, thank you, Gunnar, for stopping in and give us some insight. Lazarus rotating into the zone, and we're going to let this game play out. So thank you, Gunnar. Hopefully talk again soon.
Thank you so much for having me, sir. Thank you.
And here's Wolf taking some shots towards Vanquish. As Gunnar mentioned, everyone's kind of rotating past that Jumasera area. And Genesis did make it through the Rumblers' kind of high side firing range and have made it just close to Val Del Mar. So we'll see now what Lazarus can do as they make their way into the zone with low key. They are way out still in the northeastern side.
Envy as well, just now rotating in. Because where they loot in Los Leones, they kind of have to wait for everyone else to leave first, but it seems that they're coming in just a little bit slower as well. Perhaps, I mean, at this point, they're probably playing the same way that Gunnar was saying Lazarus play, where they just want to come in late. They know they don't have priority towards the center, and so just kind of focus on their own zone of the map rather than trying to play some big full zone control that the teams in the center are looking forward.
Ghost Gaming had a quick chat with them, frustrated with the last circles on Sanhok did not go their way, found themselves outside in the cold as they did not have a great time, and it really has been a middling, unfortunate day for Ghost, as they did have some success, but also some deep failure as well.
But at the same time, how often do we see Ghost come in late in the blue once it hits the mid-game area? They're not a team like Wildcard or Low-Key who come in super late in the early game. They find themselves in the circle, but then they're just, I feel like they're just too slow to adapt off of the phase 2, the phase 3, phase 4 shifts. And so I want to see them move faster, because once they're in a position to take the fights comfortably, they dominate them. I just want to see them move faster in the rotational aspect of this game. At this point, though, they're not on the edge. They're not in the center, but they're like halfway towards center from the eastern side. This could give them a good start that they need.
Absolutely. Tempo Storm, they've been having just a medium day for Tempo, but they have maintained their lead, and that's all they could ask for, because it is considerable. So with Sharp Shot, I got to say, Tempo has been probably obviously the favorite, but the way Sharp Shot is integrated into the team, I think, has almost exceeded what we have expected. You know, he went off of Wildcard, a team that was in relegations, and then eventually did get relegated, now to the premier team in the NPL, and he has not slowed down at all. Arguably having a much better performance on this better team than Wildcard, which Cameron, I imagine, would be expected.
Yes, I mean, chemistry is a big thing, and Wildcard, while they did have a lot of standout performances throughout 2017, or 2018, it was a roller coaster for them, as well as a lot of NA teams, but Wildcard specifically. And at that point, you could tell the chemistry was all just gone. And it took a week for him to fully slot into Tempo Storm, but now he is back to the same old clutch master Sharp Shot that we've learned to love throughout 2018. The shift is going to come out. It's going to be dead center. No one's really going to be too surprised or upset off of this. We have a couple of teams you can see that are way off into the north, but when you come in that late, you need to have a plan for a circle like this.
So Genesis is now trying to condense on the center point. So K-Mind, and I believe that is H-Win, they have the center spot with Nerf and Profi trying to make their way through. Temple was on this coastline looking down their way, but out of the firing line, just like that, Mystery appears in a motorcycle, just kind of plopped off the side of the mountain, and he's going to get some shots. Riot Squad's going to open up on the stop vehicle of Nerf as Profi shooting. Oh, he's way out of position. Got to be careful there. He's going to have to move his vehicle as well. Close call there for Profi, and they're not going to be able to rejoin their teammates just yet. Look like they can hold up a 2-2. Not too bad, though, Cam.
I mean, close call for Profi. It's an even closer call for Mystery. I'm surprised he didn't take more damage, but over here, Zenith and SSG are fighting. 2 down for SSG, but Hector A knock against Roth. Hopefully they can turn that into something, but they're split away. They need more damage if they want to try and save their teammates. I think J-Sank is as dead as the body right next to him.
Oh, well, Valiant is holding security, but it'd be pretty easy for someone to step out and flush J-Sank, as you just mentioned. I imagine it's going to be Kendo, and time again, we've seen SSG in the center of the zone, or at least close to it at the beginning of the game on these Miramar circles, and it kind of gets into these kind of strange brawls, normally with Zenith or whoever else comes their way. But yeah, SSG just has not been getting any traction. It's just, I really expected SSG to not really turn a corner, but either full commit. I can't imagine them not getting traction at any point during this phase. It's just been so strange to watch SSG's fall.
I mean, if there's one person who's gotten traction, it's Valiate. He's been performing very, very well in of himself, even though he's been going off by himself a lot of times, but the rest of the squad just hasn't been delivering.
This is a kind of a faux pas in the caster world, but I gotta say, I would love to see Valiate. You know, maybe it's time to look at the roster, make a judgment call. One of the best mechanical IGLs we have, and I think, again, looking across the league, shout out to Wooly, but you know, there's a lot of upgrade for Valiate to maybe come onto a team like Sonic's IGL. That team, a lot of potential there. SSG is not been a consistent team really in the history of PUBG, but maybe it's time just for Valiate or the squad to reassess and look at their options, because there's a lot of teams, I think, from a chemistry standpoint, that Valiate would slot into perfectly.
Looking over here on the eastern side, Envy have arrived past Ghost. I like seeing Ghost getting into center. Again, this is something that I pointed out being a worry of mine, but Rumblers have not held down the Chumacera area itself, just the hills above it, and this gave an opportunity for Ghost to kind of slot in onto that high ground early on in the game. A center circle, it's going to be a little slow moving forward because of that, outside of that quick little engagement we saw between SSG and Zenith. And you can see Loki up on the northern side also trying to come in, but look at that spread. Speaking of the northern side, from Lazarus, Gunnar was spot on. I mean, it's his team, so surely he knows how they play, but they love to claim that space.
Luke kind of patrolling, watching low-key drive on by. They are now making their way into the zone. Lazarus is kind of stuck to a 2-2 on the northern side. Civ and Alo monitoring what's happening between Zenith and SSG as that continues to unfold. Joining in, we found Walt Jr. being taken down by Valiate. And it's just going to be, I think, Patron and Kendo trying to salvage the round for Zenith. And we see another circle shift onto Chumacera.
Actually, Patron's gone super aggressive. Zenith know that they need to finish the rest of SSG to get into the circle. But losing a player, it's now a 2 versus 2. And you can see Lazarus in the minimap. They heard these shots and they want to third party this because they know that they can, if they can finish this fight off, they'll have easy control of the northern side if they can flush both these teams out. But on the opposite side of things, Genesis, they're continuing to be pinned down from the high ground from Riot Squad and Tempo Storm.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Riot Squad is just completely zoned in, but they have Wildcard coming in behind them, and now you can see they have to deal with that. Mystery and Protege both very low health. Smoke's coming down in defense. Adam with the AK stepping up into the foreground, but it's going to be up to VZ to hold off the attack. Protege, difficult lines of sight, but Leto will get his med off, and they will kind of rejoin as 4, and Riot Squad needs to reset.
Yeah, it's a good retreat by them using the smokes early on in the game, but it's a nice, efficient use of utility because they only used 2 of them, and they're able to keep all 4 of them alive. Wildcard, though, Adam, he's using this opportunity to complete the wrap around Riot Squad. If they can get these knocks, and actually a nade already pulled by Adam, may want to throw that out. Don't know if it's going to go far enough.
It's difficult to place the grenades there, and this is likely the end of both Zenith as well as SSG. Lazarus has stayed committed, trying to pick up those kills. Valiate will get 1, and the finish, just trying to pick up whatever kills he can. And now Kendo is going to move off in his Murado, as this is going to be a difficult rotation, but he's got to get away. And with 16 teams still up, he doesn't want to be the last man out. So VZ taking some damage in the motorcycle. Now this is Genesis. Riot Squad seeming kind of scattered now, Cam.
Interesting. They're going directly into Genesis. They recognize it's a split, and they have a man-power opportunity and knock both players down on the side of Genesis. 2 left, and this shows the risk of a split. We've seen Genesis pull it out time and time again, but this time they were almost forced into it because of Riot Squad, and they get punished for it.
Yeah, that was difficult. Profi and Nerf in not a position to help, and really that's a heads-up play and a smart play from Riot Squad to get away from the pressure from Wildcard and choose to crash a compound. That's the type of play, man, that is just those little things that some teams just refuse to do. And Riot Squad is a new team in this league. That is very promising to see.
So it's not all daisies and roses for Riot Squad, though, because they did forego the high ground in order to take this. But they knew that to take the high ground, they'd have to try and fight wildcard. And with all these hills in this zone, it is going to be third-party central. So even though we love to see Riot Squad always go aggressive from the very beginning,
it's more so the decision-making.
Yeah.
Like, even though, like, yeah, you're going to concede some high ground for sure, but you're getting pressure from wildcard. The Genesis players had a line onto them as well. There was some damage being traded there.
Yeah.
They've got United on the other side. So at the very least, they make a play to get away from pressure and pick up a couple of points. So, you know, it's not really the best possible scenario, but it's those little decision-making elements that really push these kind of teams to the top of the leaderboard.
we saw the shift go heavily northeast, hard shift up there towards Chumacera. And that's a lot of teams now here in the south and southwest. They're going to have to fight their way through. Tempo Storm already in their vehicles. And Genesis, well, the two remaining players at least, crawling up that hill. Wildcard, Riot Squad, and the late arrival rotating SSG have a lot of work ahead of them. Valley 8 died to blue, but found by Adam, so that's another point for Wildcard.
You can see on the leaderboard just how close it is from 3 through 5. It's 4 points separating everybody there. With United trailing in behind, Hetero will be found, and it's going to be SSG, the first out of the lobby. Don't know if they were able to, I think they picked up a couple of points, but not nearly enough, as they are essentially in the relegation locker by about 30 points, and it's going to be, again, SSG. Who would have thought, fighting off relegation at the end of this weekend?
United put themselves in a position to try and trap Tempo Storm's rotate, and stopping on the low ground, well, they're going to punish that. Taylor J, a lot of damage onto Maluk. The rest of Tempo Storm, what are they going to do to turn this back into their favor? You can see the movement on the minimap from the rest of United pivoting around Taylor J to get ahead of Tempo Storm. But over here, on the opposite side of things, Envy and Low-Key pushing into Chumacera. There's a lot of hard cover in these buildings, but Lazarus holds center and the high ground.
We see Protege and Mystery go down for Riot Squad, and I wanted to mention, as Adam will get flushed out, and Penta will go down as well. Now we're joining in with Tempo Storm and United. You can see just how close and how many teams can change position with one good fortune or another. As Taylor will get one down, Sharpshot will go down first. Zampa trying to pressure him down. Another grenade comes out to follow, as there's another kill being confirmed by Genesis as they continue to try and climb. And now Balefrost in the prone position, hitting nice shots onto Zampa. Maluk is there as well. United starting to lose the handle as Balefrost goes down.
Maluk walked directly into a crossfire. I guess he didn't know that Taylor J was there, or at least rotated away to that bowl, and now there's only two remaining once again for Tempo Storm, Sharky and Zampa.
Oh, I didn't even see Stab way back there. So they've got all 4 on front and only Tempo with 2 left. It's going to be an interesting and very precarious spot here. Sharky trying to go for up-close grenade, Zampa throwing one over. And Taylor J is going to go for the headshot. It looks like Sharky's lost some health there as well. Can't turn fast enough. Nice double peek there. And another point going to Tempo.
And it's now a 2v2. They've actually turned this back into an even game. The blue is at their back. And you can see on the minimap, Genesis is also arriving. But a good turn of things for Tempo Storm, who looked like they were about to get deleted by United. And immediately, Stab and Shiru, they back off. They don't want to overcommit onto this fight. They lost advantage, or at least in the fight. And Riot Squad, they also go down to Tetra.
If you're Envy, you got to be feeling real good, as you already have a 3-point lead on Riot Squad. Genesis there as well, and Genesis and Envy are tied. So now if Envy and Genesis, or sorry, excuse me, just Genesis, as they try and battle their way into the zone, they picked up 3 kills so far between Profi and Nerf, having lost K-Mine and H-Win very early. I think he might have spotted Shiru there. Yes, he did. A couple of shots. Ooh, maybe. I don't know if he wants to shoot this just yet, but it's just so, easy to hit. And now Zampa is going to take some shots. Nerf will follow up right away. And maybe they could steal that kill. No, Zampa's on the other side, but Shiru will get cleaned up. Another point going to Profi.
VQ tried to steal that, but Genesis were able to secure it, so that's 4 points. It may not be as good as their Sanhok games, but it's still going to be an all-right game for them to finish off close to the end of the day. Stab here, lone remaining player for E United, and they only have 2 kills. This is not what they expected, and Tempo Storm off of that, able to get the revive onto Zampa.
Can they stay as 2? And Sharky and Zampa. I took a look back at the stats last night. I was giving Zampa a little bit of a hard time for having like a lower output, but all 3 fraggers on Tempo are above a kill per game, which is formidable and which is why they're atop the leaderboard. Meanwhile, Nerf is going to lose his partner. Profi's been downed, I think, by Vanquish in the back line, and he's going to try and go for a Hail Mary grenade, throw that uphill. It's going to land a little bit short, just barely short, but blows up the motorcycle of Zampa, and now Stab stands in his way. as this southern side has a lot of distance to cover to the new zone camp.
Look at all the smokes that Tempo Storm have thrown out, but they're not running through them. They're actually using them more as a distraction to wrap around the east side, because obviously they're aware of the shots from Genesis, from Vanquish. But Nerf, now he has to go back and try and revive his remaining teammate, and Fozu looking down the scope, waiting for him to reveal himself. And is there even time to revive? Because the blue is closing in. He's already deploying smokes, Nerf is, to make a wall.
There's so much distance to cover. Stab's got to leave. He's kind of trying to pick up some kills. Nerf is there hoping to see he can maybe pick up a kill or two. Vanquish and Tempo have both made their way to the zone, but Chumacera, I wanted to get to this, is filled with players. And there's Ghost on one side, Rumblers is there, Lazarus, Sonics, Endemic, you name it. Almost all the 13 teams remaining are inside Chumacera.
Look at the crossfire that Ghosts have set up. They're in a 2-2 split. Genesis get eliminated in the meantime, but still a good number of points. It's not the worst game for them. And now player one, they know that Ghosts are there, and they're kind of shoved into the side of this zone. What are they going to do to get inside?
Well, pretty much anything. I know Aguila will do whatever it takes to get inside, as now it's going to be a matter of trying to battle into Chumacera, as they're the only team on the outside looking in, at least on this side of the zone. Zampa, Sharky are trying to make their way in just a little bit to the north, but looks like they're going to be headed right towards the flank of Player One Esports.
Pushing forward, using the low ground to avoid Ghost's vision, but here comes Tempo Storm on the back end. Not using vehicles on foot. Player One and Ghost, for that matter, may be caught way off guard, but Tempo Storm, they're on the back foot already. A couple of shots you can see on distance as well. They need to make sure that they engage in the best position they can, and, well, Stab goes down.
Yeah, I was going to, well, Stab was shooting Zampa in the back, and I'm not sure if Zampa ended up letting loose any shots, but regardless, Tempo's been spotted, I believe, by Ghost. Not sure if that was them shooting towards Zampa, but we're going to see another circle shift, and this is where things get real dicey, as we're going to head right towards Rumblers and Lazarus, and it's going to be house-to-house fighting, and you can't quite see from the mini-map, but that's a pretty big uphill climb to get to where Lazarus is.
Yeah, do Lazarus group up or do they stay split? I think they're grouping up right now, but Tempo Storm able to make their way inside the circle, but Ghosts certainly know they're here now. A nade comes out. It's not going to... Well, Sharky didn't run into it, but it did zone him out and it split them off. Can McCoy find the angle onto them to really punish this separation?
Drassel's looking for more grenades on the ground, and now he's going to be holding the interior of his building. He's got, I think that was McCoy down below him. As Sharky and Zampa, having survived, make their way slowly forward and have actually got in the midst of Ghost Gaming.
Able to crawl around the side. This is not what Ghost wanted, but Shrimzy, he was the player with Drazzle. He backed off, so he didn't get caught out himself because they know they have to fight against player one. A flash is going to force McCoy away. And player one want to find some opening. This actually could be bad for Ghost. They're separated and 6 enemies on their doorstep.
I was going to say that's going to be hard to mess up for McCoy, as Player One Esports has nowhere to go. The quick flush there onto Aguila. The zone now at their backs. This is what Ghost wants to get, as many points as possible as teams try and fight their way into Chumacera. McCoy switching back, looking here towards Endemic. This is them and the Sonics getting into it with a little bit of Vanquish in the back line. And for the Sonics, they don't have a lot of movement flexibility. The Molly comes out from something as Crispier goes to res Wolf, or reload, excuse me. As, yeah, the Sonics are kind of trapped here, Cam.
Yeah, Ruley was able to heal up, but there's no way for him to revive his teammate. Tiggleton is off on his own, pushing towards center to try and make something out of this game. But player one, up close and personal, gets it down against Vegas and also gets the flush, but that's still only 2 points. D treats the only man remaining. That's going to be a hard revive against Lamplight. He's going to have to finish out the rest of Ghost, but a little bit of damage on McCoy could be the start of things.
This is unfortunate to lose Vegas in that situation. Shrimzy, can't quite get the kill, and takes a lot of damage from D-Treats as well. And now he's trying to stick the res, going for the spray, maybe trying to bait something, closes the door. Nice little play there to buy him some time. Lampalot going to crawl towards the last living player on Player One Esports. Pre-firing the corners, expecting to see someone there. You can see he's not going to go for the med. He's going to stick the revive. And McCoy and Shrimzy have to be wondering what's going on out there. And I think maybe Shrimzy would have been able to spot movement through the wall, I would imagine. But as soon as they come out, it's going to be the Rumblers taking down and basically finishing McCoy. D-Treats will go down. Lampalot did not get the med. And that's going to be Player One Esports down and out.
Shrimzy also gets the final gunfight right close and personal. Don't know if he knew that Player One were there. But Ghost, a lot of damage against them. Can they continue to push into this game? Over here, Envy and low-key Zenith, you pointed it out. Look at that cliff they're going to have to scale, but first they have to fight each other off. Envy taking a lot of damage. Low-key still have 4 up.
Looking at this next circle shift, Lazarus is going to maintain their little vantage point looking off the side of this cliff. Down onto Endemic, the remnants of Sonics who are relatively scattered, I think only 2 there, and the teams you see before you, Low-Key, Zenith, and Envy.
Fignato trying to find the angle, but Pride's able to get picked up. Stay as 2 at least, and Pat Caps with the bolt action at the ready, trying to find some sort of opening, but it doesn't matter. This is just fighting over scraps, because at the end of the day, Lazarus is going to clean up whatever is left.
Pat Caps with the bolt action up close. Maybe we'll get a nice little body shot there. It counts for something, as the med will be used, and now Pat Caps, no kills. Oh, dodging the fire from Low-Key as well. Pride is going to bleed out.
No, he didn't. He actually ran into the fire.
Oh, he's on fire. He's going to med through it. For some reason, that's allowed. But he'll just cook for a little while. The zone might add an interesting wrinkle there. And, oh, now he's really in trouble. I think he might... Okay, he's dead. Pat Caps does go down to the Molly. I've been loving to see that, this phase, the use of the Molotov. Lazarus getting into it.
Ooh, Lazarus so focused on the low ground right above them. They let Endemic come right on their doorstep, and they lose Purdy Curdy, or at least they've downed him. Can still get the revive if they can clean this up quickly, but Endemic, up close and personal. Something right there in the warehouse with Chris Beer off on the side, but look at Tiggleton and Wooly able to stabilize it somewhat. But they're gonna, oh, Tiggleton, I think is actually looking to try and third party this, try and get back onto Endemic what they had received.
Very powerful building here for Lazarus, as they have lost Purdy Curdy, but still remain 3 strong with a definite advantage. As Kendo, he's also trying to creep his way up. I like the, you know, it's difficult to guard all these warehouses considering the different approach angles and that kind of thing. You can see where Kendo can come up. Endemic is going to leak in on the other side. But for the Rumblers, they're playing an interesting factor as well. And Lazarus has to be cautious. They don't want to get into an open fight with Rumblers right next door.
Tiggleton, you can see pushing up here, avoiding the Endemic and Lazarus standoff instead, running into Rumbler's position. And Rumblers, I don't think they have that many kills considering they weren't forced to move anywhere, but they have 4 up. It's a wide split amongst themselves, but at least the building that Los and Waldo are in, those are hard buildings to push into. And so I don't mind this split at the current moment, and their circle's gone directly onto their location. Do they want to continue to hold this split to try and collect these kills that they've been able to miss out on in the early game, or do they want to try and play as passive as possible to secure those placements?
Well, looks like Kendo and Alo take a little tentative look at each other. The Molly, yes, bring me Mollies. Yeah, well placed. Oh, just barely dodges the damage, but Alo will use the bullets instead, which is arguably just as effective. Alo picking up another point. 2 kills so far for Lazarus, 3 still standing. It's been difficult to get points with this complicated area Lazarus has been playing in. And to your point, Cam, there's a powerful building that Rumblers have control over. But it looks like they're going to try and hold on to these flat buildings. Maybe a little bit easier to defend, but they're going to stack up 4 and 1.
I am curious if Rumblers knew that there was a crate that dropped on the roof. You don't often see teams hold that roof. They may have in the early game, but I can also see them just avoiding it. Yeah, exactly. So that actually might be full if the Sonics want to go up there and try their hand at that.
Look at Ghost and Low-Key getting into it, high side, low side fighting. That's, I think, a Molly put into the smoke. I'm not sure if I saw that correctly, but Low-Key is trying to battle upwards. They do have 4 kills, all of which, well, most of which Lobes has. Fignaldo has 1, but he's dead. Luke will pick up a kill onto something, and now, oh, it looks like Zampa from Tempo is going to take down Drassel with a nicely placed nade. That's going to give Low-Key the time and space they need to move up the hill into the waiting arms of Alo. Perfect shots there. A nice down, and he's going to go for the quick flush. Oh, that nade, where'd that come from? Oh my God. Hopefully he didn't cook his own grenade. Civ does go down. Oh, Civ actually a little bit out of position there, getting real aggro. Nice. Oh, it bounced off of Lobes. But, oh man, Rumblers and Endemic putting it to Laz, and he can't. Oh, he's going to die to the zone. Alo doesn't have enough space. And here comes a grenade to finish off Civ. Alo is going to be stuck in the guard hut. And this is the final zone. There are 15 alive.
There are 8 teams too, not just 15 players. Lazarus, they tried to fight both angles and they got punished for it. They bit off a little more than they could chew, but Low-Key able to get the revive on Lobes, staying 3 up, and now Luke is in a rough situation. You can see Pax swinging way outside. If he wasn't standing in smoke right now, he'd be dead, and he's going to be dead. Running out into 3 crosshairs, not going to last long, and this gives Low-Key position, but they have to push through those smokes. Gifted to them by Lazarus into the Rumblers. Ghost are also eliminated. Tempo Storm able to put themselves in front of those guys. And again, get the revive, stay as 2.
I can't believe they're getting the revive in the final circle. That's crazy. The circle closing 2 minutes before the game has to end. Fozu waiting for Wooly, and we'll find him just on a very slight angle. So Willie going down. Sonics will get, I think that's 6th place as Endemic goes down in 5th, and this thing is going to end in a hurry. Low key, all lined up for Sharky. They're still alive. They've got 5 kills. Tempo could make something happen here. It would be nearly miraculous if it was any team other than Tempo Storm.
Low key, they gave away a game already. They don't want to repeat that.
Triple peek.
Triple peek, and it's actually going to be Fozu that takes them down. They are going to steal the kill. But Fozu and the remaining Tempo Storm player, can they stop Loki? It's just Chubba Bubba, very low HP.
Zampa is looking for it. He's going to step up, going for the spray, trying to pre-fire, but he's got Rumblers looking at him as well. He's got to maintain this position. He's going to get aggro. He's going for the flush, 23 in the mag, and he doesn't get the handle on his Zampa. Will go down. Chubba Bubba trying to unleash. He's got 3 kills and no life whatsoever. Rumblers, however, they are center zone, and they are trying to clean this game up.
Oh, Micro probably can't get that, but look at the angle that Los is.
Come on,
Chubba
Micro.
Bubba, with the stalling of the med, has no choice but to med in the corner. He's going to die to the zone. Rumblers don't get the point. Only 5 kills, but it's another victory for them.
Micro, unfortunately, tried to get that peak, but it doesn't matter. Rumblers had total control, and you said it, Cam, only 5 kills, but a 15-point performance as they ride that circle all the way home.
You don't leave when you're in that position when you get those circles. This isn't like them being lazy or being complacent. They played what was given to them, and sure, only 15